For 6 years, Prince Harry has been in California. 6 years of memoirs, of Netflix documentaries, of Oprah interviews and podcast deals and legal battles fought across 2 continents. And for 6 years, the role he walked away from has been sitting empty. Until now, because quietly, deliberately, and without a single announcement, William has been filling that space. Not with another senior royal, not with a courtier or an aide, with his son. Prince George is 12 years old. He is second in line to the throne. And in 2026, he has been appearing at royal engagements, standing where Harry once stood, shaking the hands Harry once shook, representing the family Harry chose to leave. And William, according to sources close to the palace, has made it very clear, the space Harry left is not waiting for him to come back. It has already been filled. To understand what George is stepping into, you need to understand what Harry walked away from. In January 2020, Buckingham Palace announced that Harry would step back from royal duties. His official military appointments, gone. His royal patronages, gone. His role as a working member of the family, gone. At the time, the palace described it as a temporary arrangement, a transition period, something that could be reversed. It wasn't. In February 2021, it became permanent. Harry and Meghan confirmed they would not be returning to royal life. Every remaining title, appointment, and official duty was formally removed. What was left? A gap. A specific structural gap in the fabric of the working royal family. Harry had been the approachable one, the one who connected with veterans, with young people, with communities that didn't naturally feel represented by the formality of the crown. He was William's counterpart, the complement to his brother's future king's seriousness. That counterpart role has never been replaced by an adult royal, but it is now being filled gradually, carefully, and very deliberately by a 12-year-old boy in a dark suit who shakes hands with the composure of someone twice his age. Prince George has already appeared at the Royal British Legion's Festival of Remembrance at the Albert Hall, his first time attending the annual event, with royal observers noting his growing confidence and poise during public appearances. That was not a casual appearance. That was a statement. In 2026, the pace has accelerated. Experts note that George is set to take on bigger royal responsibilities in 2026, with royal observers anticipating he will begin taking on official engagements, similar to those his father undertook at the same age. Royal. Author Robert Jobson has described George's preparation as carefully managed, deliberate, step-by-step, guided at every stage by William and Kate. But there is something else happening in 2026 that is shaping George's visibility in a very specific way. King Charles is unwell. The abdication planning is real. William is preparing to be king, possibly sooner than the public knows. And when William becomes king, George becomes the heir apparent, the Prince of Wales, the future monarch. He stops being a boy in the background and becomes the most important person in the line of succession after his father. Under royal protocol, George and William are no longer permitted to fly together, a precaution designed to protect the line of succession in the event of an emergency. That rule came into effect after George turned 12. It is the clearest possible signal of how seriously the palace now treats his position. He is not a child at royal events. He is the heir in training, and the training is no longer theoretical. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are in California. In 2026, Harry was named in the Time 100 list of most influential people in sports for his role as patron of the Invictus Games. A list about sport, not monarchy, not royal duty, not the crown. The message from the palace could not be clearer if they had issued a formal press release. George is the future. Harry is the past. What is William actually doing here, and why now? The answer has 3 parts. First, the monarchy needs it. Prince William is facing fresh criticism from veteran royal author Norman Baker, who claims William is not working enough, accusing him of being work-shy and more focused on his bulging bank account than royal duties, comparing his engagement numbers unfavorably to King Charles and Princess Anne. That criticism stings, but it also explains the strategy. If William is pulling back from some ceremonial duties, he needs visible royal presence elsewhere. George provides it in a way that simultaneously positions him for the future. Second, Harry's behavior has made it urgent. Every interview Harry gives, every book he publishes, every Netflix documentary that relitigates the family's private moments, each one is a reminder to William of what happens when royal preparation fails. Harry was not properly prepared for what the role demanded. George will be. William is reportedly helping prepare George for the Duchy of Cornwall, 494 acres of land across 20 counties, which provides a large source of private income. which George will inherit when William becomes king. This is not symbolic. This is practical. William is handing his son the keys to a real institution. Third, Charles's health means there is no time to waste. George is expected to learn firsthand about the responsibilities as heir to the throne from his father, with royal author Robert Jobson confirming the preparation is being carefully managed, but accelerating. Because if Charles abdicates, if it happens this summer as some sources suggest, George stops being heir in training and becomes heir in fact. A 13-year-old boy, second in line to the throne, with his grandfather's crown in the air and his father reaching for it. That is the reality William is preparing him for. What does Harry make of all this? Nobody knows because Harry hasn't said. Not publicly. Not about George's growing role. Not about what it means for his own place in the family story. But sources close to the palace have been consistent on one point. William has no intention of making space for Harry's return. William had pushed for something more to be done about his uncle Andrew and was said to be unamused that Andrew was readmitted to royal life after the Queen's death. He was particularly annoyed at being asked to drive Andrew to church at Balmoral in the summer of 2023. That tells you everything about William's approach to people who have damaged the institution. He does not forgive, he does not forget, and he does not make room Harry left. William has made peace with that. More than peace, and he has built around it. Reports suggest Harry and Meghan are considering a return to the UK, possibly as soon as next month, with their children Archie and Lilibet. A rare visit, an olive branch perhaps? But what they would be returning to is fundamentally different from what they left. The gap Harry created has been filled. Not perfectly, not completely, but deliberately and with a clear direction. By the time Archie is old enough to understand the royal family, his cousin George will already be the Prince of Wales, and Harry, whatever he does, wherever he goes, will be the uncle who left. That is the legacy William is writing, one public appearance at a time. Harry stepped back from royal life in January 2020. He was 35 years old. He had a wife, a son on the way, and a plan. He could not have known that 6 years later, his 12-year-old nephew would be standing in the rooms he used to stand in, shaking the hands he used to shake, preparing for a future that looks less and less like it needs Harry to be part of it. George is not Harry's replacement. He was always going to be here. He was always going to grow up and step forward. But there is a difference between an heir coming of age in a complete royal family and an heir stepping into a gap left by someone who chose to leave. That gap is closing and nobody in the palace is losing any sleep over it. Subscribe to Monarchy Uncensored and turn on notifications. We cover the real story behind the British royal family. No spin, no PR, no palace approved version. I'll see you in the next one.